All right, let's get into this really fantastic and, honestly, pretty moving story by John Galsworthy. Today, we're going to talk about that timeless battle between pure passion and cold, hard profit. The master artisan versus the machine. It's a story called Quality, and it asks a question that feels more important now than ever. So, what this story really boils down to is a clash between two huge opposing forces. On one side, you've got traditional craftsmanship. It's slow, it's personal, it's meticulous, and it's built to last. And on the other side, modern industrialization. Fast, efficient, totally anonymous, and let's be honest, built for right now. This is the central conflict that powers the whole story. So let's meet the man at the center of it all. He's a German shoemaker living in London. His name is Mr. Gessler, and this guy, he is the living, breathing soul of craftsmanship. For him, making boots wasn't just a business. No, it was something much, much deeper. And this one line, it just says everything about him. When he's asked if making boots is incredibly difficult, he replies in his thick German accent, "It is an art. An art." See, it's not a trade to him, it's not a job, it's a true calling. And that one simple belief dictates his entire life. And in the end, his fate. You really get a feel for his world from the way his shop is described. It wasn't some busy store with things flying off the shelves. The narrator says it was like entering a church. Think about that. It was this quiet, reverent place, a sanctuary from the loud, fast-paced London streets, where the art of shoemaking was basically worshipped. So what was the result of all this art? Well, simply put, perfection. Gessler's boots weren't just sitting there waiting to be bought. Nope. Every single pair was made to order, specifically for each customer. They fit perfectly, like they were part of your own foot, and he used the absolute best leather. This meant they didn't just last a season, they would last for years, maybe even a decade. But as you can probably guess, this kind of dedication, it can't just exist in a little bubble forever. The modern world, with its very different set of values, was bound to show up at his door. And that is the million-dollar question, isn't it? What happens when a person who truly values quality is suddenly faced with the instant, easy convenience of a mass-produced product? This is where the story really takes a turn. So the narrator walks into Gessler's shop one day, and he happens to be wearing a pair of boots he bought from a big department store. It was an emergency, But Gessler doesn't just glance at the boots, he sees them. And his reaction is just pure, unfiltered pain. "Those are not my boots." It's not just a statement. It feels like an accusation, like a betrayal. And in that moment, Gessler just lays it all out. He wasn't losing business because his boots were bad. He was losing it to the big firms. And these companies, he says, they didn't get by on quality. Oh no, they got by on advertising. They were taking his customers away not by making a better product, but just by being louder. And this new, unforgiving market, it really starts to take its toll. Because Gessler refuses to change. He will not compromise his art for anything. But as it turns out, perfection comes at a truly terrible price. You watch his decline happen in these slow, heartbreaking stages. First, his partner, his older brother, passes away. Then, because the boots he makes last so incredibly long, the narrator doesn't need to visit as often. And with every visit, Gessler just looks older, weaker, more worn down by the fight. And yet he keeps working, pouring every last ounce of his energy into his craft, sometimes not even stopping to eat. Then one day, the narrator goes to the shop, and it's gone. A new business is there. He learns that Mr. Gessler has died. And the cause of death? It wasn't old age, it wasn't some disease, it was, quite simply, slow starvation. Now, here's the crucial detail. He wasn't starving because he was broke. He was starving because every single penny he made went right back into his art. He used it to pay the rent for his shop and to buy the absolute best leather he could find. He literally sacrificed his own body for the quality of his work, working day and night to finish those last orders. So, after all that sacrifice, what's left behind? What's the final judgment on a life that was lived with such uncompromising integrity? The new shopkeeper, the guy who took over the space, when he's asked about Gessler, he offers this simple but incredibly powerful tribute. He made good boots. It's not some grand speech, but it is everything. In a world of passing fads and things you throw away, Gessler made something real, something good. And in the end, that legacy outlived him. And this leaves us with one last big thought. Mr. Gessler lost his business, and then he lost his life, all because he refused to cut corners. So his story kind of forces us to look around and ask ourselves, in our own world of fast fashion and next-day delivery, what value do we really place on something that is simply good?